Hello, welcome to Puddock's Classroom, and we're looking today at using context in calculations. We're going to be particularly looking at a division calculation and how we can interpret our answers when we do a division calculation. There are different ways of interpreting those answers. We'll be thinking about context of the calculation and how this can alter the answer that we are expected to give. We've got a question here where there is one division calculation that we need to do, which is 13 divided by 4. It's a nice simple calculation to do. But we have to try to think of 4 different ways that that question can be asked to give us the 4 answers that we have. So we're going to have a look at the different ways that we can try to sort out this question. Okay, so let's have a look first of all at what we're going to do. Alright, so this is the question that we have been asked to look at, which is 13 divided by 4. We can think of this in quite a few different ways. We can think of it as, let's just try and do this as a division with bus stop method. Now when we do bus stop method, and we're doing this, 4 into the 1, it doesn't go, so we can just do this. 13, it will be 3. And then we've got this 1 left over, so it's 3, remainder 1. Okay, we can think about it in that way, and that could be one of our answers, 3, remainder 1. So how can we think about that in real terms? Well, why don't we think about it in terms of sweets? I have got 13 sweets, and I am going to share those 13 sweets between my 4 friends. So here they are, my 4 happy friends. There they go. And I've got 13 sweets to give them. So let's give them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So if I share them out, one of my friends will get 1 extra. So that's not really a fair share. So what I'm going to do, this is our remainder 1. So this one here, I'll keep for myself. So my question might be, if I share 13 sweets between 4 of my friends, how many sweets will they get each? And what is the remainder that is left for me? 3 sweets, remainder 1 for me. So there's one way of thinking about that question. When we look back at the question, our answer that we've got at the moment isn't any use. 3 remainder 1 is not an answer that we can use. But if I look at the questions there, I think I can pick one. I think we can use A for the answer that we're looking on, depending on how we phrase that question. Because remember, my question was originally about how many sweets would I be able to give to my friends and how much would I have left. If I ignore that part about how much I have left, maybe I can use a question like this. You can see that I have changed my question slightly. I have taken out the bit about how much I would have left. So my question is only really about the sweets that I am sharing with my friends. If I share 13 sweets equally between 4 of my friends, how many sweets will they get each? Well, let's have a look. Let's take this away, go back to this. If I share my sweets equally, it's still 13 divided by 4. The answer is still 3 remainder 1, but we're ignoring this. We're only interested in the 1, 2, 3 that he got, the 1, 2, 3 that he got, 1, 2, 3 that he got, and 1, 2, 3 that he got. So they got 3 each. Answer perfect. That's A sorted. If we look closely at the question now, we've done A. B is fairly straightforward because it's very similar to all the tense questions that were being asked in the previous work we're doing. So how can you share people in amongst so many tents, or how many tents do you need to do this? All you need to do is to think of something where it has a particular size and how many, and a group of things that you need to fit into this object. I'm going to think about pencils and boxes. So I've got a box that can hold a certain amount of pencils. How many boxes do I need to hold these pencils? Right, so let's think about these pencils and these boxes. Our question is 13 divided by 4. So I'm going to use both those numbers. I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 pencils. And my question is, if I can put 4 pencils in a box, how many boxes will I need to fill in, to have 13 pencils, or to fit 13 pencils in a box? So let me see. We only get 4 in a box, so I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 pencils in there. I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 pencils in there. Can I get another box? 1, 2, 3, 4 pencils in there. So we've got 4 in each of these boxes. 4 and 4 is 8, and another 4 is 12, but I've got 13 pencils, so I need 1 more box. It's only got 1 pencil in it, but I still need it for my question. So my question was, I have got 13 pencils. I put them in boxes. The boxes hold 4 pencils each. How many boxes will I need to hold all 13 pencils? There's our answer, 4. Now, we're ready for question C, or part C of this question. And we've got a decimal as our answer. We've got 3.25. So I'm going to think of something that we use decimals in context with, and I'm going to talk about length. So I'm going to use length and the relationship between meters and centimeters to help me with getting the question and getting the context for the question that we're going to get, the answer 3.25. Right, we're back to thinking about the context of that question, where we're still doing 13, we're still dividing it by 4, but we want the answer this time to be 3.25. That's the one that we're looking for. So I have thought about our 13 as a piece of wood, and this piece of wood is 13 meters long. And this piece of wood is going to be cut into 4 equal parts. Okay, so if we do that into 4 equal parts, well, what is half of 13? There's half. What's that going to be on each side? If we do that, half of 13 is 6.5. Now 0.5, and that's 6.5 meters. 0.5 of a meter is, we can say that as 6 meters and 50 centimeters. To get it into quarters, I need to split my halves into equal parts as well.
So I've now got 6 meters and 50 centimeters that I am going to split into 2 equal parts. And that will give me, each part will be 3 meters and 25 centimeters. And if I write that as just meters using decimal notation, I will get my answer as 3.25 meters. And that's how we can go about getting the answer 3.2, because of the context. The story that we're telling with it is to do with a piece of wood that we are cutting into 4 equal parts. The piece of wood is 13 meters long. So that would be the story that I would tell. That would be the context that I would put the question into.
Now we're almost done. We've got A, B and C sorted out. We have got a context for each of those 3 parts. We're now on to part D. Now part D is looking at time. We've got hours and we've got minutes. Now we've got 3 hours. Now 3 was part of the answer that we've had in our last question. And that 15 minutes, how much is 15 minutes in comparison to an hour? Well, 15 minutes is quarter of an hour, isn't it? So we can maybe think of a question where you can have 13 hours and you want to share that time out into 4 equal parts. So that amount of time you spend on something could be an average that you are finding over 4 days. I spent 13 hours working on videos to help year 5, and I did that over 4 days this week. So what is the average amount of time that I spent each day making videos for year 5? And that might be the answer, 3 hours 15 minutes. Okay, so you have to try and get yourself to answer this question with stories in your own context, that uses your own context, but make them similar to what I've got. Don't go off too much and make it complicated. Base it on what we've heard, and I'm sure you will manage fine. Good luck. Let me see if that helps you.